In the realm of human relationships, dramas unfold, hidden from prying eyes. Perhaps somewhere close to you, someone is secretly sighing, experiencing deep feelings you're unaware of. It might seem incredible, but psychologists claim that quiet love leaves subtle traces unnoticed by most. Surprisingly, statistics show that about 90% of people experiencing such a secret infatuation never dare to reveal their feelings. Instead of words, they send signals so subtle and subconscious that they are easily missed. The tragedy lies in the fact that many potential love stories never develop simply because one partner doesn't recognize these signals in time. Carl Jung, a prominent psychologist, dedicated his life to studying suppressed emotions and their manifestations. Based on his work, we can identify 13 signs indicating that someone is secretly in love. Each of these signs is like a key to unlocking another's soul, an opportunity to see what's hidden behind the mask of everyday life. Special attention should be paid to the last sign, which will not only reveal the secret of hidden affection, but also suggest how to turn this invisible connection into reality. Ignoring these signs can lead to a missed opportunity to experience something truly important and fateful. Therefore, it's crucial to watch until the end to learn how to recognize these signs and not miss out on your destiny. Have you ever wondered why some people admire qualities in you that go unnoticed by others, while others, on the contrary, constantly tease but don't break the connection? Such behavior deserves close attention. When affection for someone is strong but admitting it is undesirable, the subconscious seeks detours to express feelings. This is the first sign of so-called quiet love. Carl Jung, a renowned psychologist, explained this phenomenon through the lens of psychological projection. The essence is that a person may unconsciously transfer to you the feelings they are not ready to acknowledge in themselves. This can manifest in two ways. Firstly, through idealization. The person puts you on a pedestal, praises your taste, your views, your manner of smiling, even minor details like how you hold a cup or adjust your hair. However, quiet love is not always expressed in flattering words. Often it takes the form of constant teasing. The person engages in arguments for no apparent reason, provokes, makes seemingly harmless jokes, but they are all directed at you. This behavior may be a subconscious attempt to get your attention without revealing true feelings. It's quite curious that the subject of secret affection may inadvertently reveal their feelings even when not in close proximity to the object of adoration. They may mimic their manner of speaking, show interest in their hobbies, or even accidentally mention their name in conversation. Such manifestations indicate that suppressed love does not disappear without a trace, but permeates the smallest details of behavior. If someone singles out a particular person from the crowd, showing either excessive admiration or veiled criticism, it may be a sure sign of hidden feelings masked by words and actions. It's worth considering whether you've ever observed such an attitude towards yourself from someone you know. The second characteristic sign of quiet love manifests in contradictory gestures, when a person seems torn between the desire for closeness and the desire to maintain distance. Have you ever noticed someone being fully engaged in communication and then suddenly distancing themselves? This behavior may signal hidden affection. John Bowlby, the founder of attachment theory, explains this approach avoidance pattern as an ambivalent type of attachment. The person feels a need for a relationship, but at the same time fears rejection. These fluctuations may be a subconscious attempt to maintain the connection without fully revealing their feelings. According to Carl Jung, suppressed strong emotions occasionally surface. In the context of quiet love, this leads to a recurring cycle of approach and withdrawal. The person seeks to attract the attention of their object of affection, but realizing this retreats, fearing vulnerability. Such distancing can manifest both physically and emotionally, and, importantly, it is usually directed exclusively at a specific person. If, after a period of detachment, they strive for contact again, it indicates that suppressed love does not disappear, but only transforms. If there is someone in your environment who demonstrates such inconsistency, it is worth paying attention. Perhaps this is the most delicate way to express sympathy without uttering the cherished words aloud. The third sign of a tender, deeply hidden affection lies in subtle signs of attention, elusive to most, yet capable of transforming everything around them. Imagine a situation: after a grueling day at work, you return home exhausted, and, as if by magic, someone anticipated your state and relieved you of an impending problem, eased your burden, or simply offered support in time. In response to your gratitude, this person modestly downplays their contribution, saying, "It was nothing." But is that really the case? The true manifestation of quiet love is rarely expressed in passionate declarations, but rather in these insignificant yet touching displays of care, which often go unnoticed. Perhaps the person lacks the courage to openly declare their feelings, but they find a way to express them through actions, in small favors, in seemingly random signs of attention that speak volumes more than any words. It could be a colleague who, without asking questions, takes on part of your work to ease your burden, or a friend who, knowing your love for a certain type of coffee, brings you a cup, seemingly for no reason at all. Or perhaps it's someone who unobtrusively, almost imperceptibly, is always ready to help, not performing heroic feats, but simply not leaving you alone in difficult moments, or showing concern without expressing it aloud. As Jung asserted, suppressed emotions find expression in actions, even if we cannot put them into words. Quiet love can manifest in the form of such small, unnoticed sacrifices, made not out of a sense of duty, but out of a sincere desire to care for you. Notably, the person showing such care usually does not seek recognition. If you notice that someone constantly puts your well-being first, without drawing particular attention to it, perhaps this is their only way of saying that you occupy an important place in their heart. The fourth, highly remarkable sign of quiet love is manifested not only in eloquent gestures or meaningful words, but also in a series of events unfolding in the living space. It's worth considering whether it has happened that certain people persistently appear on the horizon as if fate itself is trying to bring them together. If someone's presence becomes frequent and unexpected, if conversations with this person flow effortlessly and naturally, if coincidences occur with surprising regularity, this may indicate the existence of a deeper connection. Carl Jung called such significant coincidences synchronicity, events that cannot be written off as mere chance. Quiet love sometimes manifests precisely through such synchronistic moments. For example, you only have to think of someone for that person to suddenly send a message. An unexpected meeting occurs in a place where neither of you usually goes, or a striking similarity in tastes, past experiences, or worldviews is discovered. Often, such synchronisms are not mere coincidences, but rather the result of another person's subconscious desire to be present in your life. Even if they are not ready to admit their feelings, they seem to intuitively find ways to be near, invent pretexts for meetings, or try to come into contact with things that are part of your world. Another important detail is the special energy that is felt in moments of being together. If there is hidden love, then in the presence of this person, there may be an invisible tension, a kind of comfortable anxiety, as if something significant is in the air. Glances become slightly longer, and there is a feeling that there is something more between you, but no one dares to voice it. If you get the feeling that someone is constantly present in your life, if coincidences happen too often, and the harmony seems too perfect to be just a coincidence, it's worth paying attention to it. Perhaps the universe itself is trying to point out something that you have not yet had the courage to admit to yourself. The fifth symptom of unspoken affection is revealed not in spoken words, but in the subtle gestures that a person makes subconsciously. The body becomes an involuntary revealer when the mind tries to hide true feelings. If an individual harbors a deep attachment to another but tries to suppress its manifestations, body language betrays the secret. Such signs of attention are difficult to control as they stem from the depths of the subconscious. For example, you may notice how a person's gaze lingers longer than it should, but is immediately averted upon realizing that they have been noticed, or how, during a conversation, they lean forward slightly as if drawn to someone's presence. These are typical signs of an emerging emotional connection, even if it is not expressed in words. Among other physical manifestations, one might observe a change in voice tone, slight nervousness, an involuntary smile upon seeing the object of affection, and gestures such as adjusting hair or clothing in the person's presence. Accidental touches, for example a fleeting brush of the hand for no apparent reason, can also indicate hidden love. According to Carl Jung, the subconscious is always reflected in bodily manifestations. This means that even when trying to conceal one's feelings, the body still betrays them because it cannot lie. If a person behaves differently in the presence of a particular individual, if their gaze reflects emotions they cannot express in words, it can be a clear sign of unspoken affection. After all, true feelings always find a way out, even in the most insignificant movements and gestures. The sixth symptom of unspoken love can manifest unexpectedly during casual conversation, when the object of affection's name is mentioned as if by chance. Have you ever noticed someone repeating your name without any apparent need, or your name coming up in conversations when you're not there, like a sudden recollection? This could indicate that the person is thinking about you more often than they should, and these thoughts involuntarily break through. The renowned psychologist Carl Jung studied the influence of the subconscious on our speech, noting that we cannot always control what we say. When feelings are suppressed, the mind seeks alternative ways to express them. In the context of quiet love, this can manifest as the beloved's name slipping out involuntarily, as if it were a constant thought residing in the speaker's mind. An interesting nuance is the tone of voice used when saying the name. Often it is the intonation that reveals the emotional coloring, a softer timbre, a particular attentiveness in the voice, as if the name holds special significance. Sometimes a slight pause may occur before uttering the name, as if the person momentarily realizes what they are saying. If a person frequently tells stories in which you invariably play some role, even if the situation seems unrelated to you, it may indicate that you hold a special place in their thoughts. After all, we tend to talk and think more about what evokes an emotional response in us, even if it happens unconsciously. Thus, if someone often mentions you, if your name pops up in conversations for no apparent reason, or if a special glint appears in their eye when you are mentioned, that unspoken love may be more obvious than they realize. Ultimately, when something or someone deeply touches us, it becomes impossible to completely hide our feelings. The seventh sign of hidden affection is the subtle discomfort that a person cannot conceal when hearing about someone else's interactions with the object of their affection. Even without admitting it, a secretly infatuated person may betray themselves through subtle displays of jealousy. This is not about dramatic scenes or excessive possessiveness, but about restrained reactions, mood swings, or seemingly innocent remarks that conceal inattention. Have you noticed someone frowning or withdrawing when you enthusiastically talk about someone else? Or perhaps they make cutting jokes, belittle merits, or become sarcastic when the topic of a potential romantic interest arises. This could be a subconscious attempt to express jealousy without revealing their true feelings. After all, suppressed emotions do not disappear without a trace. They erupt in the most unexpected forms. In the case of quiet love, jealousy can also manifest in body language, arms crossed over the chest, averted gaze, or a change in tone of voice when mentioning other people. Perhaps it's a slight awkwardness that they try to mask with a joke, or a seemingly insignificant remark that nevertheless carries an emotional undertone. It is also worth paying attention to how this person reacts to other people's relationships. Someone harboring secret feelings may subtly try to divert attention, change the subject, or emphasize their own merits as if unobtrusively, seeking to stand out from the crowd. Hidden jealousy is one of the most eloquent signs of quiet love because such a feeling does not arise for those who are emotionally indifferent. If you notice that someone is behaving differently than usual when you talk about another person, you should not ignore it. Perhaps what seems like a random reaction is actually a reflection of unspoken feelings. The eighth sign of hidden affection manifests not in words, not in gestures, and not even in glances, but in a more elusive and mysterious realm, in the dreams that visit us in the stillness of the night. Surely, each of us has encountered a situation where the image of a particular person persistently appears in our dreams, seemingly without any apparent reason. Waking up brings a sensation of their invisible presence, even if real communication with them is long in the past. Some cultures believe that a person appearing in a dream indicates their intense thoughts about us. And modern science is increasingly inclined to believe that such nightly visits may be more than just a random coincidence. The renowned psychologist Carl Jung argued that we are all connected by an invisible thread of the collective unconscious, a kind of universal field where memories, feelings and emotions freely flow from one person to another. In other words, if someone harbors strong feelings for you, that thought can penetrate the thin veil of this connection and manifest in your dreams as if the energy of quiet love finds its way to you. It is worth noting that this phenomenon goes beyond purely spiritual beliefs. Studies of brain waves and energy resonance show that a thought is a kind of vibration. When a person intensely thinks about someone, this energy can be transmitted at a distance, affecting the subconscious of another person. If a certain image persistently haunts a person in dreams, it can be interpreted as a subconscious transmission of energy from that person. Interestingly, such dreams are often devoid of a specific narrative. They do not necessarily unfold in romantic settings or are filled with passionate confessions, but rather convey a general mood, a sense of presence, and a range of feelings. The dreamer may see this person in an ordinary setting, but the emotional imprint from such a dream remains very tangible. The recurring appearance of a certain person in dreams may indicate the existence of a connection that goes beyond the material world, a kind of silent affection that manifests itself in moments of heightened receptivity. Another manifestation of quiet love is the subconscious copying of another person's movements and manners. Have you ever noticed how someone starts to adopt speech patterns, use the same expressions, or even unconsciously copy habits? This phenomenon, known as subconscious mirroring, is a psychological mechanism that is triggered when sympathy arises. The brain activates natural imitation, causing a person to unconsciously copy the gestures, postures, and even intonations of the object of their affection. In this way, a deeper connection is subconsciously established. According to Jung, the unconscious connects us with those who have a strong emotional impact on us. Mirroring is one of the natural ways of expressing intimacy and affection, as a person instinctively seeks to get closer to those who are dear to them. It is noteworthy that such behavior does not manifest itself towards everyone. If someone copies your pose, adjusts their hair after you, or repeats your phrases, it may not just be a coincidence, it may be a manifestation of a desire to establish a connection on a subconscious level. Mirroring manifests itself not only on a physical level, but also in the sphere of opinions, interests, and worldview. A person may start to show interest in your hobbies, unexpectedly agree with your way of thinking, or even change their point of view to match yours. If it seems that someone in your environment is becoming more and more like you, pay attention to the details and how they unconsciously adopt elements of your behavior. Quiet love is often not expressed in words, but reflected as if in an invisible mirror. The 10th symptom of unspoken love manifests itself in the ability to skillfully hide true feelings under a mask of indifference. Not everyone has enough emotional maturity to openly express their deep experiences. Realizing one's own sympathy for someone, especially in conditions of uncertainty of reciprocity, can cause panic and prompt the subconscious to build protective barriers. These barriers can manifest themselves in the form of alienation, deliberate cheerfulness, or demonstrative indifference. Carl Jung called such a social mask a persona, a tool for adapting to the world around us, allowing us to hide our true emotions. In the context of unrequited love, this mask can take the form of cold, detached behavior, designed to disguise the feelings raging in the soul. Have you noticed how a person's behavior changes in your presence? Perhaps they become overly talkative, avoid serious topics, or demonstrate complete indifference, as if you are of no interest to them. However, behind this mask there may be a deep attachment. Another telltale sign is emotional swings. One moment a person pays you maximum attention, has heartfelt conversations, and the next they withdraw and become cold. Such a approach avoidance behavior pattern is often an unconscious attempt to curb their emotions. Fear of vulnerability drives many to hide their affection behind sarcasm, irony, or mild provocations. But deep down, such behavior is just a way to protect oneself from excessive emotional exposure. If there's someone in your circle who constantly masks their feelings with jokes or calculated coldness, it's quite possible that they harbor much stronger feelings for you than they're willing to admit. The 11th symptom of unspoken love manifests as subtle tests that a person conducts, seeking to gauge the response of the object of their affection. When feelings are deep but acknowledgement seems impossible or undesirable, the subconscious seeks roundabout ways to obtain the necessary information without revealing true intentions. These tests often take the form of emotional trials disguised as casual situations, but in reality they serve to assess the other person's interest. Who among us hasn't encountered provocations designed to elicit a specific reaction, questions about attitudes toward love and fidelity, or discussions of fictitious scenarios intended to uncover the other person's opinion? Sometimes it manifests as subtle hints of an imaginary romantic interest aimed at provoking jealousy. All of this are typical signs that a person in love is trying to understand the prospects before committing to a more serious step. As Carl Jung asserted, the subconscious constantly analyzes the environment in search of confirmations of our inner feelings. In the context of unspoken love, this may manifest as a person, sometimes unconsciously, creating small trials to ascertain whether there's a chance of reciprocity. Such tests can manifest as harmless teasing, veiled comments, or playful innuendos. A compliment hidden behind a joke, a remark about how good you'd look together, or unspoken phrases hanging in the air. At first glance, such signs may seem insignificant, but their regular repetition suggests that the person is trying to understand your feelings without asking the direct question. If someone in your circle frequently resorts to such tactics, asks questions about relationships, or behaves provocatively, it may be compelling evidence of hidden affection that is waiting for its moment. The 12th manifestation of hidden affection is not found in loud declarations or expressive gestures, but in the unwavering presence nearby during moments of greatest vulnerability. Love is not always expressed in heroic deeds or passionate confessions. Often, it manifests in subtle signs of attention and care. A more mature form of such love manifests in unexpected participation. Recall if you've ever faced difficulties when someone unexpectedly appeared, ready to offer support. Maybe it's a colleague who notices your depressed mood and silently offers help, or a friend who finds solace without extra words, or a person who, without further explanation, finds a way to ease your emotional state. Carl Jung argued that a deep, incomprehensible force connects us to other people. When someone experiences secret love, this connection manifests as a protective instinct, a desire to be there in a difficult moment, even if they don't dare or can't openly confess their feelings. This imperceptible support can take various forms: sincere interest, manifested in everyday questions, words of support when you doubt yourself, or small, caring gestures that go unnoticed. Sometimes such a person even finds a rational explanation for their behavior, claiming that they just want to help or that everyone would have done the same in their place. However, the truth is that not everyone shows such care. The difference between ordinary help and the manifestation of hidden love lies in constancy. This person is always there, even when their presence is not mandatory, noticing in you what others miss. If so, then perhaps this care goes beyond friendship. Love is not always expressed in words. Often, it is hidden in those moments when someone decides to stay close, even when you yourself don't realize how much you need it. The 13th sign of hidden love manifests not in the words, actions, or behavior of another person, but in your own feelings. Often people strive to rationalize emotions that, by their nature, defy logical explanation. Have you ever had the feeling that someone has affection, even in the absence of explicit evidence? As if a certain aura hangs in the air, manifested in the person's gaze or behavior, which convinces so much that the heart accepts this knowledge long before the mind has time to confirm it. K. Jung argued that intuition is a profound form of cognition that transcends rational logic and is directly connected to the collective unconscious. This implies that even before one consciously recognizes the signs of hidden love, intuition is already capable of sensing this energy. This receptivity is explained by the fact that people possess far greater sensitivity than is commonly believed. Subtle changes in the tone of voice, barely perceptible facial expressions, the rhythm of breathing, all these nuances are subconsciously perceived, forming that inexplicable feeling that indicates something more exists between two people. If there is an unwavering certainty, if a special attitude is observed, if a connection arises between two people that cannot be accurately expressed in words, then it is quite likely that love already exists, awaiting the right moment for its realization. Hidden love can manifest itself in glances, gestures, or even in dreams, but ultimately, a person always feels its presence. If there is a feeling that someone is secretly in love, it is possible that intuition is picking up on what that person's consciousness is not yet ready to admit. Hidden love can be one of the most powerful and yet most unsettling experiences, manifesting in the smallest details, hidden gestures, and unspoken words. However, after realization, the inevitable question arises: what to do with this knowledge? Closing one's eyes to these signals may mean missing the opportunity to build a genuine relationship, as so many romantic stories have never begun simply because of one partner's fear of taking the first step. At the same time, acknowledging this attraction and remaining inactive can become a heavy burden. Constantly being in limbo can generate unfulfilled hopes. Thus a dilemma arises: is it worth keeping this feeling a secret forever? If a person notices these signs in someone else, perhaps it is time to look deeper, see the hidden motives, and create a situation in which this feeling can manifest itself. This could be an open conversation, a more expressive gesture, or simply an atmosphere in which the other person feels safe and can open up. Love exists to be experienced, not just imagined in dreams.